From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. pressed the ambassador of France and the charge d'affaires of the Embassy of the Czech Republic to the Philippines for clarity and stronger cooperation on the case of fugitive former lawmaker Zaldico. During separate meetings at the Malacañang Palace in Manila, President Marcos expressed disappointment over developments surrounding Co's release from Czech custody, the Presidential Communications Office or PCO said. President Marcos noted that despite the Philippines' efforts, the former lawmaker has yet to return home to face justice. He asked for additional information on the circumstances that led to Co's release. The PCO clarified that despite the issue, President Marcos reaffirmed the Philippines' strong bilateral ties with France and the Czech Republic, anchored on shared values such as respect for the rule of law. President Marcos expressed hope for enhanced police, legal, and judicial cooperation to secure Co's return to the Philippines. Malacañang confirmed that Co is no longer under the custody of the Czech Republic and is now in France, where he is seeking political asylum. The Department of Foreign Affairs received highly reliable information that Co filed a petition for political asylum in France due to alleged political persecution, a claim that the palace denied.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced a sweeping expansion of the maternity benefits provided by the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth starting April 30, aimed at easing the financial burden on expectant mothers. In a video message, President Marcos announced that coverage for normal hospital deliveries will increase to 29,000 pesos, nearly triple the previous 9,750 pesos, while benefits for cesarean sections will rise from 37 pesos to between 58 pesos and 62 pesos. The president also said prenatal care coverage has been expanded from 4 to 8 checkups, now including vaccines and laboratory tests. Postnatal care has likewise been improved, with 3 follow-up visits now covered.
Alam natin kung gaano kamahal ang panganganak. May check-up, laboratory test, ospital, at gamot. Kapag kinulang ang pera, napipilitan tayo maghintay o magtipid. Dito nagsisimula ang panganib. Maraming ina ang nanganganak na walang doktor. Hindi dahil ayaw nila ng tamang pang-alaga, kung hindi dahil hindi nila kaya ang panggastos. Ito ang nais natin baguhin. Simula ng April 30, mas pinalawak at mas mataas na ang maternity benefit ng PhilHealth. Para sa normal na delivery sa ospital, mula 9,750 pesos, magiging 29,000 pesos na ang sasagutin. Para naman sa cesarean section, mula 37,000 pesos ay magiging 58,000 pesos hanggang 62,000 pesos na. Sa maraming pagkakataon, kung sa ward manganganak, kahit sa private hospital, maaari nang wala nang babayaran paglabas. Pinalawak din ang prenatal care. Mula 4 na check-up, magiging 8 na ang sasagutin ng PhilHealth. Kasama na ang mga bakuna at saka laboratory test. At pagkatapos naman manganak, may 3 follow-up visit na sakop na rin. Simple lamang ang ating layunin. Nais natin matiyak na ang bawat ina ay makakapagpanganak ng ligtas at hindi nag-aalala kung saan kukuha ng pambayad. Nais natin na walang buhay ang malalagay sa panganib dahil lamang sa kakulangan ng pera.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, continues to assist repatriated and stranded overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, affected by the geopolitical crisis in the Middle East. This is in line with Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to ensure that OFWs receive the necessary interventions aligned with the implementation of the Unified Package for Livelihoods, Industry, Food, and Transport, or UPLIFT framework. The SWD spokesperson, Assistant Secretary Irene Dumla, reported that over 4.4 million pesos in assistance had been provided to 3,723 OFWs as of April 28. Of the total, 3,314 repatriated OFWs were from the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, or KSA, Israel, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar, while some 409 stranded OFWs originated from airports located in the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, KSE or KSA, Ireland, Portugal, Iraq, and Oman. Among the assistance provided to OFWs include financial assistance worth more than 4 million pesos to 762 OFWs, Sustainable Livelihood Program or SLP grants amounting to 120,000 pesos to 6 OFWs, and medical assistance amounting to 300,000 pesos to an OFW in crisis. She said the DSWD continues to collaborate with other government agencies to ensure the provision of appropriate assistance to the OFWs.
Dateline Malacañang.
An official of the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, said overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, who were recently repatriated from the Middle East are welcome to participate in the nationwide job fairs on Labor Day. DOLE spokesperson, Assistant Secretary Leonard Serrano, invited the affected Filipino workers abroad to join the nationwide activities where they can find alternative job opportunities in the Philippines or abroad. As part of the 124th Labor Day celebration on May 1, around 165,000 employment opportunities will be available in 89 sites across the nation. Meanwhile, the department is hoping to surpass last year's number of job seekers hired on the spot, or HOTS, in this year's Labor Day celebration. Last year, Labor Day job fairs achieved a nationwide HOTS placement rate of 15.7%, higher than the 11.10% recorded from the previous year.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, and the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, signed a Memorandum of Agreement, or MOA, to help overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, earn college degrees faster by recognizing their years of work experience. In an interview during the MOA signing for the implementation of the Lifelong Learning Education Assistance Program for OFWs, or LEAP OFWs, in Quezon City, OWA Chief Patricia Yvonne P.Y. Kaunan said the agreement would give more qualified OFWs the opportunities to earn academic degrees under the CHED's existing Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETEE-AP ETIAP. CHED's ETIAP allows qualified workers to convert professional experience and prior learning into academic credits. Under the program, OFWs may complete a bachelor's degree in as little as 1 to 2 years instead of the usual 4, depending on the assessed experience and competencies. Kaunan said the initiative is intended for migrant workers who have spent years abroad but were unable to finish college. She added that the initiative is part of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to strengthen reintegration and ensure that every OFW has clear opportunities upon returning to the Philippines. The first pilot batch will accommodate 100 OFWs with 50 slots for workers still overseas and 50 slots for returning OFWs. OFWs currently abroad may take the course online, allowing them to continue working while studying. Kaunan said The program is funded through the General Appropriations Act and not from OWA's Trust Fund and is open to all OFWs under the Alagang OWA program, including non-members. She also said OWA will provide educational assistance to help interested and qualified OFWs shoulder tuition costs in participating colleges and universities. Kaunan said the initiative is part of the government's reintegration efforts under a whole-of-government approach in coordination with concerned agencies including CHED, the Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE, and the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW to link graduates to various job opportunities locally and abroad. The OWA, she said, would soon release application guidelines for the first batch of beneficiaries under its LEAP OFW's initiative. She said CHED chairperson Shirley Agrupi said around 300 OFWs have already graduated under the existing ITIAP system.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Government Service Contracting Program has transported more than 4.4 million passengers nationwide as the Department of Transportation or DOTR rolls out a mix of subsidies and fare relief measures to ease the impact of rising fuel costs, an official said Wednesday. During the Senate's Proactive Response and Oversight for Timely and Effective Crisis Strategy or PROTECT Committee hearing, DOTR Undersecretary Mark Stephen Pastor said 12,119 public utility vehicle or PUV units are now operating under the program across 598 routes, helping sustain mobility while augmenting driver income. Pastor said the program is complemented by fare discounts in the rail sector, with more than 17.5 million passengers already benefiting from the 50% fare education for MRT3 and LRT2 users as of April 26. He added that the government continues to expand free ride initiatives with the Libreng Sakay program, serving a total of 55,872 commuters as of April 27 through partnerships with various government agencies. Pastor also reported that nearly 60 million pesos in toll rebates have been credited to qualified PUV operators, covering more than 92,000 beneficiaries. He added that the DOTR is sustaining a multi-layered approach that combines direct subsidies, fare discounts, and operational support to keep transport services accessible and affordable.
Dateline Malacañang.
Electricity rates are set to ease in the next billing cycle as the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC accelerates refunds and rolls out regulatory measures to caution consumers from recent increases in power costs. At the Senate's Proactive Response and Oversight for Timely and Effective Crisis Strategy or PROTECT Committee hearing, ERC Chairperson Francis Saturnino Juan said a faster implementation of a multi-billion peso refund arising from previously over-recovered charges and regulatory adjustments will help bring down electricity rates. Juan added that the ERC is also reviewing regulatory thresholds and coordination with industry players, including the possibility of staggered adjustments to moderate the impact of future rate movements. He explained that the recent increases in electricity bills were largely driven by higher generation charges, which account for the biggest share of power rates. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, who chairs the PROTECT Committee, said early regulatory intervention is key to preventing sudden bill increases. He noted that subsidy-related charges, including the lifeline rate, account for only about 1 centavo per kilowatt hour, indicating these have minimal impact on overall electricity costs. Juan explained that increases in generation charges can affect other bill components, such as transmission and value-added tax, as these are computed based on total electricity costs. He added that charges such as ancillary services and system loss are necessary to ensure a stable and reliable power supply. Other senators also raised proposals to review tax components and other charges to further ease the burden on consumers.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, lauded 6 Philippine higher education institutions, or HEIs, after being ranked in the 2026 Times Higher Education, or the Asia, University Rankings. In a statement, CHED Chairperson Shirley Agrupi said the result demonstrates the growing commitment of Philippine universities in advancing quality and transparency amid the sector's internationalization efforts. The 6 ranked universities delivered strong performance in all 5 core THE pillars: teaching research environment, research quality, international outlook, and industry engagement. Ateneo de Manila University, or ADMU, topped the Philippine ranker, securing spot from the 501 to 600 bracket. 4 prominent HEIs have tied in the 601 to 800 bracket, including De La Salle University, or DLSU, Mapua University, University of Santo Tomas, and the University of the Philippines. The Mindanao State University Iligan Institute of Technology, or MSU-IIT, secured a spot in the 801 plus bracket. The CHED also highlighted a massive increase in participating universities at 128.57%. In 2026 Times Higher Education, or THE Asia University Rankings, 48 PHHEIs, or Philippine HEIs, have participated, much higher than 21 in 2025. The CHED vowed continuous support to local HEIs amid the growing participation in the country's education internationalization. Of the participating Philippine HEIs, 42 PHHEIs have attained reporter status, signifying their advancement in global benchmarking and improved institutional data systems.
Dateline Malacañang.
Tourism demand in the Philippines remains strong despite volatilities and challenges besetting the industry, Tourism Chief Dita Angara Matay said. Speaking at the Tourism Congress of the Philippines Conference on Tourism Resilience in Makati City, Angara Matay said foreign visitor arrivals from January to April 27 reached 2.24 million, up nearly 9% year-on-year. Thus, Angara Matay said the DOT would make a more active and deliberate role in stakeholder coordination to further strengthen tourism in the Philippines. She said the agency will also continue to position tourism resilience as an economic priority, given its close to 9% contribution to gross domestic product, or GDP, and support for employment. Angara Matay said DOT's strategic direction in the next coming years would be focused on connectivity, domestic tourism, destination readiness, investment ease of entry, and priority markets such as China, India, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, North America, Australia, and Europe. She noted that DOT's Infrastructure Arm Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, or TIEZA, is also readily organized in financing training, education, and tourism infrastructure.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, CICC, is pushing for the creation of a National Anti-Scam Hub, or NASH, to serve as a centralized complaint center for victims of fraud and online scams. In a Bagong Pilipinas interview Wednesday, CICC Executive Director Undersecretary Renato Aboy Paraiso said the initiative, to be headed by the Office of the Executive Secretary, aims to make it easier for the public to report incidents of scams while improving coordination between government agencies handling these cases. Aside from the OES and the CCC, Paraiso said other agencies included in the program are the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, or PAOC, the Bureau of Transnational Crime, and law enforcement agencies. Under the proposed setup, he said agencies involved in anti-scam efforts would operate under a single system, allowing cases to be quickly endorsed to the proper office. He said the CICC could focus on detection and reporting, while law enforcement agencies would handle investigations and enforcement actions. actions. Paraiso noted that the streamlined system is expected to shorten response time to complaints. Paraiso explained that most scams nowadays involve digital platforms, text messages, or other information and communications technology channels. Meanwhile, Paraiso also cited the Philippines' partnership with South Korea to establish National Cybersecurity Operations Center and SOC, which is said would help secure government digital infrastructure and strengthen defenses against cyber threats.
Ang layunin naman ho talaga nito, Joshua, is para yung lahat ng mga kababayan natin na nai-scam, isa lang ang pagsusumbungan. Tapos kami naman sa mga ahensya ng pamahalaan, kami na ang mag-uusap-usap. Right now, naguguluhan yung mga kababayan natin kasi ang dami nilang, hindi nila alam saan sila magsusumbong. So ang balak po natin is i-integrate at saka i-streamline yung processes of government para may mapagsumbungan at tugunan itong mga problema sa scams na to.
Okay.
CICC Executive Director Undersecretary Renato Aboy Paraiso.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Climate Change Commission, CCC, has underscored the importance of a more integrated and coordinated regional response to the climate crisis, noting that fragmented national approaches are no longer sufficient to address increasingly interconnected risks across Southeast Asia. In a news release, CC Vice Chairperson and Executive Director Robert E.A. Borge highlights the need to shift to a whole-of-system approach that aligns climate action, economic stability, and energy systems across the region. Borge emphasized that while countries face shared climate threats, current responses remain largely siloed, limiting the region's ability to build long-term resilience. He said climate ambition must be matched with a whole-of-systems approach that supports sustained development and economic stability. Recognizing ASEAN as a key platform for strengthening coordination and partnerships to address the global climate crisis, the CCC also noted its potential role in advancing a unified climate strategy among member states. In his remarks, during the same event, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. stressed that ASEAN is at the front lines of the global climate crisis as strong storms, rising seas, prolonged droughts, and devastating floods have become realities for millions across the Southeast Asian region. The president added that confronting these challenges is a shared responsibility and that ASEAN has already shown that common problems across the region can be overcome through collective purpose and resolve. The ASEAN Climate Week, held from April 1-27 to May 1 and hosted by the Philippines seeks to advance national determined contributions or NDCs and promote stronger regional cooperation through high-level dialogues, technical exchanges, and capacity-building activities.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, for Dateline Malacañang, Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. has lauded the 1st Infantry Division for its role in ensuring that peace and development continue in Mindanao. During his visit to Camp Major Cesar L. Sangan in Labangan, Zamboanga del Sur, Bronner honored outstanding troops and recognized distinguished military medal awardees from the division. Bronner reflected on his previous assignments in Mindanao, particularly as Deputy Commander of Joint Task Force Ranao and Brigade Commander of the 103rd Infantry Brigade under the 1st ID. He recalled the sacrifices and challenges faced by soldiers in the aftermath of the 2017 Marawi conflict and underscored the resilience of both the AFP and the people of Mindanao in advancing peace and stability in the region.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila. Dateline Malacañang.